look a little
could,
better. You know what I'm saying?
If Embiid can give you like, you only need 4 good games. You could feasibly, and we've seen teams do this where they kind of let it go to a game 7, you know? I don't recommend that for any team, but we've seen teams being like, all right, we'll let it get to 7. I'm not saying Philly could be that team, but if you only need 4 good games from Joel Embiid, Karl Anthony Towns lives in foul trouble in these games. This is going to sound like so much hate, and I swear it's not.
Welcome to the Warner Brothers podcast. My name is Keenan, joined by my brother Kyle. Again, we were in limbo of 5, 4, 3, 2, and then it just ended up being us too. Hey, we're not mad at it. We're not mad at it.
Brandon Petty might jump in here. There's rumors of Brandon Petty making a from the top ropes type of arrival on this podcast, so we'll see. He said he's wedding tux or suit shopping right now. Ooh. So it seems kind of late for it, but he said he might pop in. He said he'd be back about 10. It's about 10 right now, so maybe I'll hit him and see what's up.
All right, sounds good. You doing all right though?
I'm great. Lots to talk about. Got a great pod for today. Yes. What's that thing? It seems like you got some. What's up, Q?
We're at the point now where the NBA playoffs are in like sight. It's like at the GPS point where you're 5 minutes away from home after a long road trip, and you're like, you can like, oh man, I can just see my house, and you're like, you can physically feel like you see. So we are right there at the NBA playoffs, and I couldn't be more excited. And then I'm glad that Wemby's rib thing is not like a long-term thing. Shams reported today that the Spurs are very optimistic he can play one of these next 2 games. That he's going live for Friday, but if not, definitely on Sunday. So, hey, I'm here for it. I'm happy. Keep everybody as healthy as possible. Knock on wood, all over. But yes, I'm just excited.
That's a great analogy. It's an outstanding analogy. I gotta say, man, I'm like, even though I know the playoffs are next Saturday, it doesn't feel like it yet. I keep reminding myself that the regular season ends this Sunday. Like it does. Like, but it just doesn't seem like it. It seems like when it's like, you know how it's like Christmas is right around the corner, but it doesn't feel like Christmas until like Christmas morning or Christmas Eve. That's kind of like how I feel right now. Like I know the playoffs are in like 10 days, but man, just does not seem like it. But I can't wait. I cannot wait.
Same.
Couple things I want to ask you before I get to our main topic at hand, which by the way, you are not prepped for, and you don't need to be prepped for because you'll see when we get there. Couple things I want to ask you though before we start. One, this should be very quick. You mentioned Keenan in one of our Q&As a couple months ago, or about a month ago maybe. You mentioned that you want to get into golf more.
Yes.
What would be the equivalent of golf Super Bowl? The Masters starts tomorrow. Yep. Will you be tuning in at all?
A little bit, actually. So, funny enough, I was working today. We have a golf hitting bay, and we were slower towards the back half of the night. And the golf lead, shout out to Zach, him and I were just talking about golf. Like he's super into golf. He got into it a few years back, but he's technically loves reading on it, loves watching and going. Like he's gone back in the history to watch everything. But I was talking to him about it and just working on a few swings in the hitting bay and kind of like properly how to swing. And then we were talking about the Masters. I actually got a couple of just $10 bets thrown in there because I had a couple profit boots on FanDuel. So yeah, I'm going to be tuning in. It'll be on the TVs at work, and I'll be at work all weekend. So I'll be tuning in.
Nice. Maybe I'll tune in Sunday. I don't usually tune. I mean, I usually probably turn it on for like 2 minutes. I'm like, oh, let me watch. And then I'm pretty bored instantly. Which, like, there's no reason. I don't actually think golf is boring. But the presentation is so, like, lo-fi. It's so damn near ASMR. It's kind of like, all right, you know, I can put this on in the background and kind of watch something else.
Yeah.
So, yeah, maybe I'll put it on the second TV while I'm watching hoops this weekend or something like that.
The one good thing about golf when watching it is you don't have to like wait for every pitch kind of thing. You do go from like one golfer to another shot to another shot to another shot kind of thing, instead of being like just you watch a shot and then you watch them walk to the ball or something like that. You do get to just like they do bounce around because there's so many golfers going. But at the same time, it's a slow watch. It's a slow burn. But hey, when you see something impressive, you see something impressive. Putting a ball in a small hole from 150 yards is a very impressive thing, regardless of. So your impressive shots are impressive.
Officially, no Tiger, who has been embattled, and then obviously is even more embattled after his incident a couple weeks
Yeah,
ago. But hey,
yeah,
it sounds like he was prepping to be on the senior tour as well as possibly being in this year's Masters. So maybe next year.
mm-hmm.
But what about you? This is completely, I mean, it's on the topic of golf, not on the topic of this podcast, but HBO put out a Tiger Woods doc maybe like 6 to 8 years ago,
Yeah,
maybe even less than that. And it's two parts and it's like 2.5 hours. And Tiger Woods' career on top of his issues spans damn near 3 decades. I mean, you could do a Last Dance style doc on Tiger Woods, and HBO,
yes.
who's amazing at all of their content, it's only got a 2.5 hour doc for Tiger Woods. So I remember I watched the first half and I was so disappointed that there was only like an hour and a half left. I was like, I'm not even going to bother
Mm-hmm.
watching the second half because there's so much more you could do with this career. So I'm hoping one day maybe he gives an all access
That would be
type
really
of,
cool.
documentary, because that's an athlete who's like deserving of it. He's on the short list along with Jordan, along with LeBron, along with others who,
So
you could get 10 to
Bill
20 hours
Belichick
of
and Tom Brady, they need the
Belichick
10.
and Tom.
The Patriots need a series.
Well,
Um,
Kraft tried to do it immediately after the dynasty ended and like left some key parts. I've still yet to watch that. Um,
I need it to be elongated. I need it to be well thought out. Both of them well into their kind of twilights of letting him go. We need, and then just sit down. Like The Last Dance was kind of pinnacle, and it was because it came out at COVID and no one was like, what are we gonna do? Like there's no sports, there's no anything. All we're gonna be doing is sitting around. They're like, well, I got something for you.
bro, let's
Here's a
push it up
10
a couple months.
here, here is 10 episodes of Michael Jeffrey Jordan's life, pretty much. It felt like, obviously there's more to it than that because it's talking about the whole Bulls, but here's Michael Jeffrey Jordan on a platter. Like, here you go, guys. If you didn't know, now you know. Okay, I'll take it. We did a pod after every single one of them. We were happy. We did a pod after every one. That was our content for a month.
That's true. No, that's true. Go back and listen to those. Those would probably be a very interesting listen.
Yes, because we've grown so much as
podcast.
podcasters, and we've grown, but at the same time, it was fun. It was a good time.
For sure. For sure. Real quick, because you mentioned Brady and Belichick. I remember around that time too, maybe a year after that, Brady came out with Man in the Arena, which was also a documentary, which again just seemed he was still playing at this time. So it was like, why?
Like the Steph
And
one
from what
that
I
he had
heard,
too. Like it's just weird. Like, why are you doing this while we're still playing, guys?
yeah,
Go
like they
on.
kind of just get buried. But I heard from that Man in the Arena one that there was like some really like in-depth stuff in there from the Patriot days too, which I'm sure there was in the Kraft Dynasty documentary. But I heard so many stuff about just how it was unpleasant to Belichick and how it kind of like diminished his, contributions to the dynasty, which were large.
Of course.
Can you kind of unintentionally segued into the next topic before we get to the main topic by bringing up the Patriots? Do you know where I'm going with this? Are you familiar with our team of over the last 24 hours? Any news with our team? Are you familiar?
Are you talking about the Vrabel news?
I am talking about Mike Vrabel. I'm talking about Miss Diana Rusini.
Dirty
Mrs.
Diana?
Diana Rusini.
Dirty Diana?
Dirty Diana is right. Dirty Diana is right. Dirty Mike and Dirty Diana, apparently.
Yeah, I mean that's kind of a dope double entendre. Mike Jackson, Dirty Diana, kind of like that. Whatever. It's kind of funny. But
interested to hear your thoughts. I mean, there's not really much aside from photos here and circumstantial evidence and other things. What are your thoughts on it when you heard it, when you saw it, however you digested this?
I didn't know about it until about 8 hours ago, because I work with a guy. His name is Tom. He is from the north. He's from the Boston area. So he happened to live there. He went to Florida a little bit. So he kind of has like the same life path ish as I do. But we're both ASMs there. And he was like, "Have you seen the Mike Vrabel news?" I was like, "What do you mean, the Mike Vrabel news? What are you talking about?" He was like, "The Diana Rusini, you haven't seen it?" I was like, "No, I haven't." So I was at a computer. I looked it up and I was like, "Hmm. Those photos look pretty comfy." They look pretty comfortable next to each other. Like, nah, it's just friends. It was like, think if Danny had, think if I was just alone there with us, I think I'd be pretty upset. I could see a partner of anybody being a little upset. So I didn't dive too deep into all the like exactly everything about it, but from what I did see, I think it's hard to deny that it's just like, hey, you're just a couple friends hanging out, just sitting, kicking back.
I'll say this. There wasn't much aside from what you saw, those pictures and, whoever leaked this to the New York Post, because they got this story, they got this scoop. And people are saying, like, this is a pretty exclusive hotel in Arizona. It's known as a couples hotel in Arizona. Like, not only is it weird that they would be there at the same time hanging out without their
Yeah.
husbands or wives, but it's also weird that paparazzi would just happen to, catch this from afar. Like whoever saw this, whoever got this photo was tipped off. That's
Yes.
A. B, it's not a good look. Just straight up, it's just not a good look. One thing, Keenan, from this article is that Vrabel and Rusini each commented to the New York Post. Usually you don't get comments from the parties involved, and they commented
No.
directly saying, hey, we were with friends, this and that. They got out in front of it. That being said, like, if there was a lawyer in the situation was ruling like, is this infidelity, is this not, they would probably win the case because it's not like overwhelming circumstances, but they wouldn't win it convincingly. They would not win it convincingly. In the court of public opinion, yeah, that looks dirty. That looks,
They would win the case, but the generic public would be like,
yeah.
Well, but like in the sake of evidence,
in the court of public opinion, they would not, because it looks very disrespectful to each of their partners. The first thing I thought of, Keenan, was like, I'd heard Rusini. She's a guest from time to time on Bill Simmons' podcast.
Yep.
And I heard her in training camp of last year, and the way she was talking about her husband wasn't necessarily disrespectful, but it was like, it was the first thing that came to my mind. It wasn't disrespectful, but it also was like almost, I don't know, because I don't want to make it seem like I'm commenting on their marriage, because far be it from me to do that. But I was surprised how she was talking about her husband. Yeah, no, it seemed more like she was talking about him like a teammate almost. And then since then, I'm not kidding, Keenan, today, I've seen probably 10 different clips of her talking pretty disrespectfully, whether it's intentional or not, of her husband. And I was like, oh, well, maybe my observations weren't incorrect there.
Yeah.
So you come away from this feeling bad for her husband. You come away from it feeling bad for Mrs. Vrabel, who they've apparently been together since '99. I mean, that's before the Pats' first Super Bowl, one of many Super Bowls the New England Patriots have, if you guys haven't known, listeners and viewers out there. But really, normally I'd brush this under the rug. First of all, let me say Mike Vrabel entering himself in Warner Brothers podcast worst man of the year for 2026, 2027 already, like a very early entry. You don't want it to be a New England Patriot. You don't want it to be a New England Patriot head coach, but here we are.
I mean, we had a New England Patriot win it last year, unfortunately.
They won the inaugural award. Keen, one reason why I'm worried about this, and one reason maybe why I'm not, is because it's Robert Kraft. Robert Kraft's the owner.
Yeah.
So that gives me reason, A, why I'm worried about it. This is an owner who, I forget the reason, Keenan, maybe you remember, that one week we had Antonio Brown. Something happened between his first week where he played and his next week that Brady and Belichick were okay with. It was something. It was like an off-the-field incident. I don't remember exactly what it was, they were okay and they vouched for him to stay on the team, but Kraft was the one who wanted to cut him, and he was indeed cut. Kraft,
We see-
despite
sorry. Every single time I
no, go
think of
ahead, go
Antonio
ahead.
Brown, I just think of us saying the Patriots are going undefeated because of one game that we watched against the Dolphins. And we were like, they're not losing a game. They wouldn't have. You cannot talk to me otherwise. They're not losing with Antonio Brown on that roster.
They definitely go deeper than the first round. They beat Mike Vrabel's Titans that year in the first round or whatever. We probably don't play the Titans because we probably have a bye that year.
Well, yeah, because the Miami Miracle doesn't happen. If the Miami Miracle just doesn't happen, we are going to be a number 1 seed, and we would have been fine anyway. But yeah,
I forget the reason why he was cut. Kraft is very much this guy who like not only is prideful, but like wants the Patriots to have a good reputation. Doesn't want that kind of BS on his team, so to speak. So I wouldn't like as of right now. Again, there's not much that you could fire Vrabel for. There's probably nothing you could fire Vrabel for. But as these internet detectives go, these Twitter detectives go, they can find shit that you didn't even like think existed. They can find it. And if there was stuff to bubble over the next 2 weeks that really made Vrabel look, not great in the public eye, to say the least, Kraft would be the one who would fire this guy. Out of all the owners, he might be the one that'd be like, you know what? Despite the success, this is not good for the franchise. The reason why he wouldn't fire him. What's up?
I see you guys just saying it's not our brand, and what he promotes is our brand.
Correct. The reason why he wouldn't fire Mike Vrabel is because he is Mike Vrabel, and he's such a fabric of not only the team now, but the team of the past, the dynasty of the past. So maybe he's got some goodwill there, I would think. So that would be the only reason that I think Vrabel would be around. If this was a lesser coach, maybe he's already out of there. I don't know. I mean, we saw this with Ime Udoka and the Celtics. That was a bit of a different situation. Obviously, that was a Celtic staffer involved. But if this were to get any more ugly or any more just uncomfortable, I don't know. I'd put a like 20 to 25% chance on it that Vrabel's just gone in the next month. I wouldn't want that to happen, but I'm not putting it past Robert Kraft. I'll tell you that.
It's not something to sound the alarm, but it's something to keep on the side. It's something to monitor just to see what the story is coming about this, because Boston is like that and everything. So it's something to monitor for sure.
Any other thoughts on this situation?
No, I'm interested to see what comes about it, or if anything comes about it. I'm hopeful that it doesn't, for the sake of the Patriots and just for the sake of them as human beings, because obviously if it is nothing, I hope everything can go along with their families and they could figure that out. But if it is something, I hope that all the parties involved bothered. So just basically wishing well to all of them.
Love and positivity. Yep. Let me just delete this note. Okay. You ready, Keenan, for the main task at hand here?
I'm ready.
NBA tiers. Let's do it. Last edition before we get to the NBA playoffs.
I thought we were going to wait on these, but all right. It sounds good. I love it.
No. I've got big plans, as you know, for next week. So I figured let's get these. What could really change from here to Sunday, right? Like nothing's going to change from now to next Saturday. So let's get these out of the way. Not much has changed. You'll see. Bottom tier. So bad that they are not intentionally tanking. Do you know what team this is, Keenan?
So bad they're not intentionally tanking. That'd be the Brooklyn Nets.
That would be the Sacramento Kings.
That's... Yeah. That would be my second
By the way, they had a situation last night where they intentionally fouled late up, and Doug Christie actually had a really good explanation for it. Like, I guess he wanted to use his timeout that you lose under, I think it's under 3 minutes, you lose it.
Yep.
So that was his reason, and to get a sub in, whatever. I don't know if you saw this, Keenan, but Draymond gave a really great answer post game about why the play-in doesn't matter, tanking. It was right up our alley as people who hate the play-in game, which, we'll be podcasting probably one of the nights that the play-in games happen. Did you see it by chance?
I saw a little bit of it. Like I was standing in front of the TV at work, kind of listening to Draymond talk about the whole intentional foul, and then kind of into that, but I didn't hear it in full.
He just made an excellent point where he's like, hey, he's like, we're the 10 seed, which I don't know if that's true or not, if they're the 9 or the 10, but he's like, if we're the 10 seed and the 11 is so far behind us that we could lose 15 straight games, he's like, what is that actually solving? I'm like, that's a great point, Draymond. What is that solving if you're still in contention for the playoffs? If you could, in theory, still lose 15 straight games. Excuse me.
Yeah, they are the 10 seed. But no, that's so crazy because like because the Pelicans are 26-54 and the Warriors are 37-42. So it's just like, and then obviously they're 16 and a half games away from the 15th. Like that's just insane.
On to the next tier, Keenan. Brand new tier, hot off the presses. This tier is called They Gave Up 83 Points to Bam Adebayo. This only contains the Washington Wizards. They definitely could have made it into the next tier, but I feel like they deserve their own tier for giving up 83 to one Bam Adebayo.
No, that's very fair.
Diamante. Who, like, by the way, like, what, the Heat scored like a ton of points in that game themselves. Like, they probably had like 140. It seems like anytime I look at a Wizards score, they give up something like 138, 150. They played the Heat this past Sunday, I believe, and gave up 150 again or something ridiculous like that, in which Bam scored 14. Unreal. Next tier, the Wizards could be in this tier as well, Keenan. This tier is called Absolutely No Shame. There's 3 teams here, and I really feel like I could have 8 teams in this tier. Because
no
that's
shame,
how,
as in like they have no shame in tanking, or no shame
no
like
shame
in
in,
the season.
no shame in tank. No
Okay.
shame in tank.
Okay.
Brooklyn Nets, Indiana Pacers, Utah Jazz, all shameless. The Wizards would be in this group too. Obviously, I'm just highlighting Bam Adebayo's 83 to be funny, but Wizards would be in this tier too. And you could make the case for some teams above them as well. But 3 pretty shamelessly tanking teams. The Nets, obviously, like they don't care at all. I don't know. Can you see the starting lineups this past weekend for Wizards Nets?
Yes and no, but like I think
Like
Will Riley, is that the game he had 31 in? Because like I was looking,
I don't know what the scores was. I just know someone took a picture of the jumbotron and posted it. And like, yo, if you said this was AI generated, if you said this was a random 2K game from like, 10 years down the road when they just got complete, generated rookies and, veterans, I'd believe it. Like your average fan had probably heard of like 1 or 2 of those players.
Kyle, so obviously the all-time teams that like, so they had like the 87 Lakers or the 84, like they had those teams, and you know how they only had like 1 through 8 or 1 through 9, and then the last 3 were
and the other guys are just like, yeah.
It's just like if you throw all of those
guys were.
Because I'm looking at this right now. Jameer Watkins, Anthony Gill, Julian Angel Reese, Leaky Black, Bub Carrington, Will Riley off the bench, who had 30 in that game. Then Jalen Wilson, EJ Liddell, Chaney Johnson, Drake Powell, and Nolan Traore. That's like, those are the stuff. That's, so you got, what are we like? This could be a G League. Like, this is a G League match. That's literally a G League game. Like, there might be 3 to 5 quality players out of the group that I just named. So like there might like by quality players, I mean guys who can actually like make it in the league.
Rotation guys.
Like legitimate rotation guys. There might be 3.
I do like Juju Reese. I like his game.
Reese plays well. Bub Carrington, Drake Powell was solid at UNC, and then Traore I do like. And then other than that, we're just throwing darts and hopefully hitting a bullseye.
Both Reeses love to rebound, so I like that. I like that they both have the rebounding gene. The cool thing about that particular game, Keenan, obviously tickets were cheap, for this Brooklyn Nets game, and it was a Brooklyn home game. Tickets were cheap. It sold out, and the energy was great in the arena. That is a cool thing. That is something you don't see every day for that particular type of game. It was a packed house. Next tier, Keenan, it's called Great White Hope. It's just the Dallas Mavericks. I just
Yeah,
wanted to highlight
sure.
Cooper Flagg in his rookie season. He obviously dropped 50 again over the weekend. I think he did that earlier in the year already. Um, unreal, unreal. I mean, I can't say enough that's positive about Cooper Flagg. Um, he plays, and I've said this a million times. He plays wise beyond his years. He plays the right way, not to sound corny, not to sound coachy, but he plays within the game, but he plays super hard. And for him to be 19 and for the game to be coming this easy to him, and he's playing pretty much just off hustle and raw talent, reminds me very much of an early LeBron. Reminds me very much of 18, 19, 20-year-old LeBron, who was just out there playing off a lot like Cooper Flagg, like filling in the holes where you needed, whether it's defense, whether it's uh, playmaking, whether it's scoring, doing whatever he needs to do, using his athleticism on top of it, and just playing his ass off. So it reminds me very much of young LeBron in that regard. But Cooper Flagg, man, he's carving out a niche for himself. And, very much like how it's year 3 or 4 for Wemby and we're off to the races. I think it's very much going to be like that with Cooper Flagg. Uh, I mean, he'll probably be
Um,
an all-star next year. He'll probably be an all NBA watch next year.
100%,
Crazy.
100%. He's 21, 6.5, and 4.5 on 47, 29, 82. This is the worst he's gonna be until he's like
Up
mid
there.
30.
That's the
So
worst he'll
worst,
be.
so worst he's gonna be until mid 30. It's scary. And I just want to shout out while we're talking about this, the draft class. Dylan Harper plays wise beyond his years. Like I've never seen a young guard get to the basket as effortlessly as he does. Like if you just watch a Harper highlight reel, it's like, oh, he's getting there like it's Shea. Not that he is Shea level, of course, but like how Shea gets to the lane and just gets his buckets. It's just like, wait, how is he getting there that easy? VJ Edgecombe, this looks great. Con Knipple, obviously, phenomenal shooter. He looks like he's a star in the making.
Top
Players like
5 shooter. I
Cedric,
could argue it's a top 3 shooter in the league right now.
yeah, I know. Cedric Cowell, the guy and like he's played like there's so many rookies this year that are not just playing well because they are just a bad situation. They're playing very well because they're poised, they're athletic, they're talented, plus their skill is there. So once they learn the league more, this rookie class looks like it has a one superstar for sure, and it looks like it could have 3 to 4 more all NBA guys, which is a great draft class. It'll go along with role players and stuff. So like Khan looks like he could be an all NBA. Harper on the right system. VJ Edgecombe could, and like we obviously there's a guy who can develop who's lower tier that can go up. So a lot of guys in this
Harper,
draft.
I'm surprised you said that with Harper. I feel like Harper anywhere would. I mean, he just seems like you said, wise beyond his years. Ron Harper's son too. I mean, Ron Harper's got
Yeah.
2 sons between him and Ron Harper Jr. balling in the league right now.
Yeah, no, 100%. Like when anytime Harper plays, like he just barely got to the lane easy enough. But legitimately he's like 15, 4, and 3 in the month of March, or since March, is shooting 60% from the floor and 50% from 3, roughly around like those splits. It's like he's just as confident as possible. It's crazy. But anyways, we can move on to your next tier. Shout out to
Next
the
tier,
rookies.
yeah. Let's speed through these because I mean these don't really.
Yep.
This section doesn't matter. We're almost to the playing teams. This next section, no comment needed when we go through this, Keenan. This particular one, Shams notifications on. Memphis Grizzlies, Milwaukee Bucks. I'm sure we will talk about the star players on these respective teams plenty over the offseason. So I'm gonna no comment that one. Everyone understands what that one's about.
100%.
This next tier is called misery. These are 2 teams. One has no excuse to be as bad as they are because of the talent that they have, and one has no excuse to be as bad as they are because of their history. Um, the first team is the Chicago Bulls. They have
Yep.
enough resources, being the city that they are, being the franchise that they are. They should want to be better, and they just should be better. There's so much talent across the league. Billy Donovan's a great coach, or once upon a time was a great coach. At the least, is above average coach. and they just keep surrounding their teams with mediocrity. They fired their GM and president yesterday, um, which I guess is a good sign. But Chicago, for whatever reason, wants to be average, and the Bulls are one of those teams, man, like the Knicks, like the Lakers and Celtics.
Lakers,
Any one of
Celtics,
these
yeah.
historic teams, man, when they're good, it changes the league. The league's got a different feeling to it. When you got a
Yes.
good Bulls home crowd and this and that, just changes things. It gives a different feel to the league, and
Mhm.
they could care less. And you saw it with the Bears this year. You saw it with the Bears. I mean, that's when the Bears are good, it's different for the NFL.
Yes.
That's such a great sports city and a great home crowd across all their sports. It
Mhm.
adds a fabric, it adds an element to your league. So hopefully the Bulls get it right because they do have some good young talent over there. We didn't even talk about the Jaden Ivey situation. Um, and then this other team, Misery, that really has no excuse to be here. I love their team and I love the players that they have every year, and I
Pelicans.
even love their interim coach, the New Orleans Pelicans. Yes, um, nothing. I mean, this is why it's why this tier is called Misery. Like, there's no reason for the Pelicans to be here. Um, Zion is clearly, very clearly not the number one guy we thought he would be, but he's going to be once upon it. Like someday he's going to be a devastating number two for somebody. He actually played more games than he normally does this year. I think he's on track for like 60 games. I could research that very quickly. But I mean, between that, they got DeJounte Murray back. They got James Barago as coach. Uh, there's no reason why the Pelicans couldn't be in the playing spot
He's
right
played
now.
62 games this season, so like I think if he plays the rest of the games, he technically is like eligible for all the. I think they have 3 games left, so he's eligible for all awards. Not that he's going to get any of the awards, but he'd be eligible for all NBA and all that stuff. So it's crazy to think that within the entirety of I almost said Wemby's, but the entirety of Zion's career, he hasn't played in a playoff game.
It's insane. It's insane.
Like he hasn't played in one singular playoff game yet. He tried to and had 40 in the play-in, and then got injured at the end of the play-in,
At the
and
very
then
end,
missed.
it
He
was
was
probably the best playing
balling
game we've
against
had, to
LA.
be honest with you.
Yeah, he was balling against LA, and then just got injured and just did the Zion thing and was injured. Like he hasn't played in a playoff game. Even the biggest skeptic, like shout out Brandon Petty, who said, I think that Zion's going to be a bust because he didn't think that his body was going to be able to hold up, which check that off, and he wasn't going to be as good as people were saying he was, which check. Like I mean,
Nailed it
so
100%.
he 100% nailed it. But even Brandon Petty, if I would have asked him, hey, within the first 7 years of his career, do you think he's going to miss he will never play in the playoffs? Even he'd been like, he might make the playoffs and be like first round exit or something, like not play a game in the playoffs.
Yeah,
I don't
no one
even
could have
think
guessed it.
Brandon would have. I only think Brandon signs up for that. Like, come on. Literally
The
20 people, like 16 people make the playoffs.
The weirdest thing about it too is like when he plays, he hasn't been bad. It's not like he's been underwhelming. When he plays, he's been like exactly what we thought he would be, which is a physical force. He can score when he wants. Still doesn't have a jump shot. Um, he's an impact player for sure, but not an impact player the way like a Cooper Flagg is or a Wemby is, and that's what we expected as Zion. Um, and again, the weird thing about it is, I mean, they've got good young talent. They had someone like Jose Alvarado there, which is someone you'd want on your team. They've had CJ McCollum's there. They've got a Trey Murphy there, who is another
Herb
young stud you'd
Jones,
want on your team. Herb Jones. Like they've had good guys there.
Derek
Willie
Queen,
Green,
Jeremiah
Herb,
Fears, 2 rookies that look really good already. So
love Derek Queen. Willie Green at one point looked like a good coach. They fired him. James Barago was a good coach for Charlotte. Like that's someone who I think is good in the league. That's their head coach right now, and they're sitting at 26 wins. And Zion's gonna have his second most career games played, and this is what you get. I can't wait to see what happens
I would
in the offseason.
move off of him this year. Like, yeah, you had the last tier of the Grizzlies and the Bucks as the Shams one. I would put the Pelicans there too, maybe. I like them in this tier too because you're right, it fits. But they could also fit that last one because Trey Murphy, depending on the right team, a lot of people are going to call about Trey Murphy because of how good he is, or Herb Jones. People, they should be calling about Zion. Hey, like they just need to move on. Just get something for him and get that like era out and try to like instead of trying to hold on to hope like hey he can be what we picked him at number one like hey he's not that but you're right a team throw out a random team that could use a number two he could work really well as a number two like even Chicago like he'd be cool in Chicago like it might be a buzz
Perfect in Chicago.
they like
That
like
I mean,
you get him Josh Giddey like those kind of play like around him, like that could be cool in Chicago, and like that actually give the city some buzz. Places like
Chicago could
that.
weirdly afford him too because his stock's going to be lower than what it should be,
Mm-hmm.
and maybe not coming off again the most he's played. Like this is going to be. I mean, that's good for his trade value that he played 62 games and will probably end up playing 65 games. That's outstanding for Zion, who we haven't seen that for quite some time. 61 was his
Yes.
previous career high. He's sitting at
Yeah.
62. Um, and for all we know, I don't know if they play tonight. Maybe he's at 63 tonight. Uh, but you're right. No, I could put them in the Shams tier, but
Uh-huh.
they have playoff talent. I mean, there's a team. These two teams in this very next tier, you can't tell me the Pelicans don't have the same amount of just raw talent, right? Maybe they're a bit
Yeah.
younger, but next tier, and this is where this will all start to get good because we're in the play-in playoff territory. Intriguing offseason. I've got the Orlando Magic and I've got the Portland Trailblazers. I put these two teams here. I actually had the Trailblazers last time we did this. I had the Trailblazers in the quality playoff teams because I really didn't know where to put the Trailblazers because they're sitting at the 10. They're kind of locked into playing. They're young and they're good, but they're not
Yeah.
good enough to, go out and win a first round series, obviously. But they're well coached enough, whether it's Chauncey or whether it's Tiago Splitter, they're well coached enough to be in the playing spot and they're good enough to, beat your favorite team on the right night. But they've got enough young talent to where, hey, why couldn't they get a Zion? Why couldn't they get a John Morant? Why couldn't they get a Giannis Antetokounmpo? They can do a lot of things low key with that roster. They'll have Dame coming back next year too. And the Magic, they're in this position, they're in this tier for underachieving this year, whereas the Trailblazers probably overachieved, especially after Chauncey got pinched after game one of the season. Trailblazers, you could say, overachieved. The Magic certainly have underachieved. I mean, I think a lot of people would have the Magic where the Pistons are this year, honestly. Maybe not the number one seed, but I think a lot of people
Well, in
had
the
the
top
Magic on
three,
that trajectory,
100%.
right? Right.
Oh,
And they've underachieved and they've been banged up. They've had actual excuses as to why. So, do they fire a coach? Do they trade one of these young guys who are, a big fabric of their team, like Paolo,
yeah.
like Franz, like Jalen Suggs, maybe even Anthony Black? These are guys you want on your team,
Mm-hmm.
but it just doesn't seem to work out. And again, I'm willing to excuse it. I'm willing to excuse this year with a lot of injuries. And even last year, they had a lot of injuries. Are the Orlando Magic willing to excuse it?
Yeah, I might also I know they'll probably be coming up within the next tier too. I might also add the Warriors into this tier. Team that kind of underachieved this year. Obviously, a lot of it's due to the Steph injury, but even before that, the Jimmy Butler injury kind of doesn't help that out too. But they're going to have an intriguing offseason. Do they maybe try to go for LeBron if LeBron's available? Are they going to try to trade for Giannis, or what are they going to do to build around Steph Curry? Is Jimmy Butler still going to be there? Whatnot? Because Steph comes off of the injury and puts up 29 in limited minutes against Amen Thompson. So like he's still got it. Like if you hey, what's one of the worst matchups you can get coming back? Let's get this 6'7" athletic freak to guard you for 30 minutes while you play basketball. It's like, hey, I'll put up 29 efficiently. So yeah, I'd add them to this tier probably, but I think you probably have them in a good tier too. I think I'd add them to this.
You're correct. The Warriors are in the next tier. They're a team I really didn't know where to put anywhere, Keenan, because, well, I'll tell you, okay? So, quality playoff teams. I got the Warriors, I got the Miami Heat, I got the Phoenix Suns, and I got the Toronto Raptors.
Mm-hmm.
I put the Warriors in this tier because Porzingis is playing. Steph is, in fact, back, which I'm surprised by.
Yes.
So I'd figure they'd want to be, closer to the lottery, given how loaded this draft is. But if you were, in theory, to get this team in the playoffs, could they push you to 6 in the first round? Probably could. They got enough pedigree there. They got enough talent with Porzingis, Draymond, Steph, Horford. There's enough there. So I got them grouped with Miami, Phoenix, and Toronto, who are all winning games. Like they're all winning games. I don't think they're all either one of these teams are getting past the first round, but they're all winning games and they're all good teams. They're not
Yeah.
bad teams by any means. I don't think they're fake, but they all play hard. Miami's not as defensively sound as they once were, but they're winning games. And I
Oh,
could even throw Miami in the intriguing offseason because
yeah.
they are competitive, they are winning games, but they're obviously not a threat this year. But you still got Spoelstra there, you still got 83-point Bam Adebayo there. Pat Riley's still the Godfather, and they're still the Miami Heat. So like they're gonna be major players in the offseason. They're gonna try to be. So I could put them there, but quality playoff teams. What do you think?
Mhm. I like it. The Warriors are the one that I probably would slide down just because their only matchup is the Thunder, and at best, I think they get a game, and that's like at best. Like I would bet my sweep, but I'll give respect to the Warriors, and they can get a game. I'll give them respect for that. And the Thunder could be like, yeah, it's game 3. We don't need to go. Or game 4 and we're up 3-0. It's not the biggest deal in the world if we don't close them out. So but I can move them down. Other than that, I like the Heat there. I like the Raptors there. And the other team I just can't remember
Phoenix
exactly who
Suns.
they were. The Suns. Yes, I do like the Suns. All 3 of those teams to me are annoyances in the first round. I would be shocked if if any of them got to the second round, really, depending on the matchup. But like that's their 6-game series of annoyance, 5 to 6 game series where you're like, golly, we got to deal with this team. Like we can't not show up or else they could clip us for that game.
Yeah, I kind of can't wait to see the Suns. Out of all these teams, out of these 4 teams, I can't wait to see the Suns the most in the playoffs. Just
Mm-hmm.
because, like as we saw last night, they get Dylan Brooks back. He is yapping it up to KD. Uh, KD's like, all right, you want to talk? He instantly puts Dylan Brooks on the floor. But I love that energy. Like, say what you want. And KD even kind of was like, I don't even pay attention to this dude. Like, he can talk all he wants. I ain't even giving him the respect. He didn't give me any juice last day. You know what I mean? Whereas LeBron will even kind of like be like, yeah, you fired me up a little bit. KD didn't even want to give him any little respect.
Yeah.
Uh, I love that energy that Dylan Brooks brings. Like, I can't wait to see that in the playoffs, especially if it's
Yes.
someone like the Spurs, who have been tested at all, right? That'll be a
Mhm.
great first round matchup for them if they were to land the Suns. Um, Keenan, you would know this because you're turning 29 this year.
Yep.
Once upon a time, Keenan, as you know, the 2 seed used to face the 7 seed because only 8 seeds would make the playoffs. And we'd be like, hey, the Suns are playing the Spurs this year. We don't have to wait for them to play 2 more games for whatever the reason Adam Silver has these 2 more games, these playing games. It was cool. Like we would know right now, like, given unless there's like a game or 2 behind, like maybe they fall to the 8, maybe they go up to the 7. But we by and large know the matchups. We might get the Blazers though instead. Like Suns have a
Yeah.
bad game, might get the Blazers against one of these teams, and it'll just be who the fuck cares? Because the Blazers will get swept by either one of the Spurs, Nuggets. Well, the Nuggets won't go
Thunder.
up to the 2, but the Thunder or the Spurs, they will absolutely get swept. Maybe get a game on the Spurs just off of like who knows what, but I
Yep.
doubt it. Um, any other comments, Keenan, on this tier?
Now we can move on to the next one.
Next tier, Keenan, is called Scary Round 1 Matchups. I got 4 teams here. Do you want to take a stab at the 4 teams?
The Sixers, the Hornets, the Clippers, and the Hawks.
You got them. You got them. That is the 4 teams: Sixers, Hawks, Hornets, Clippers. Which team would you like to talk about first out of these?
Um, I think the Clippers are scary. I can kind of go through them decently
Yeah.
quick because I think
Yeah.
the Clippers are scary because of Kawhi. They have a team around him too that can play. Darius Garland has looked better since he's been in LA, but Kawhi is Kawhi, and you don't want to get late game where he can just. I mean, he's bordering on all NBA first team this year, depending on like if
Yeah.
Luka doesn't make it, if for some reason Wemby doesn't make it, like he's bordering on all NBA first team. He'll probably be a second team member, but that speaking of an all NBA member, the Hawks, They have Jalen Johnson, who's looking like an all-NBA second-team kind of guy. Nickeil Alexander-Walker might win Most Improved, if not Jalen Johnson wins Most Improved. Most Improved might be probably is coming from Atlanta, some way, shape, or form. Then you've got the Sixers. Obviously, playoff P is in full effect for some reason. He came back from the PED. George came back and
PEDP.
I was gonna say PEDP came back and he is playing very well. Obviously, Edgecombe's had a good season. You have Tyrese Maxey, who's been borderline superstar this season, and then Joel Embiid, who, when Joel Embiid's healthy and right, one of the most dangerous players in the league. And then the Hornets are Boston pulled away at the end last night, but if the guy I want to talk about real quick is LaMelo. We talked about LaMelo about a month and a half ago. We talked about the Darius Garland trade, and we talked about how LaMelo didn't feel like maybe a winning player, or like you could kind of replace. Like, he's been playing since like that comment. He might have heard it, but like since that comment, essentially, he's been playing very, very good, winning. I care about this sport. I care about not just being flashy basketball. He's obviously going to have his style and how he plays, but he has been really good. And obviously you have Brandon Miller, who has been very good this season for what you need him in that role. Khan, obviously, who might win Rookie of the Year this year. I think Cooper might have pulled it away, putting up 96 points in 3 days, but they have some players. Kalkbrenner's a solid big. Like, he's been playing pretty well.
When do you think not to interrupt you, my fault.
No, you're fine. No, that's pretty much it.
When do you think the last time we had for Rookie of the Year, or really any award, but especially Rookie of the Year, when do you think the last time 1 and 2 was like white players? What decade?
Carry the one. I don't think
60s, 70s.
It might have been like maybe Woodstock time. Like, Janis Joplin might still be performing at that point. I truly have no idea.
I was not expecting a Janis Joplin reference in this podcast today. I'll say this.
No idea.
I want to respond to one thing you said. You said LaMelo turned it around after we commented on his play. I feel like there's been at least, like, since the NFL season into the NBA season, I feel like there's been at least 6 players where we've been like, hey, we got this comment about this player. And then the next week, whether it's Jalen Hurts or Baker Mayfield in the NFL, Jaylen Brown, like, after I said some shit about Jaylen Brown, like, he went on an MVP tear. Who'd you just say? Goddamn LaMelo. Garland, not for nothing. We talked about Garland. He's played well for the Clippers ever since he came back from injury. There's been a few like that who've just like taken off or gone the other way. But I feel like mostly it's for like the positive. They heard us and they respond to us and they go off. Yeah, if I had to go through these, Keenan, first of all, with the Hawks, like out of these 4 teams, I think the Hawks I'd have the least belief in as far as like being an actual first round upset, just because they're so young. But then again, they are so well coached, and Jalen Johnson really is that dude. Nickeil Alexander-Walker, man, I loved him on the T-Wolves. Him and Jaden McDaniels, they almost look like twins on the court. Like, I couldn't even decipher them at times on the court, because it seemed like whenever they wanted, like, it'd be like Ant kicking out for them for a corner 3. It seemed like they shot damn near 75% from 3 in the playoffs over the past 2 or 3 years between him and Jaden McDaniels. And he has been killing this whole year. He's been having a great season, but especially since the All-Star break, Nickeil has just been unreal. And he is just one of my favorite role players in the league. Is he the best basketball player in his family? Like, that's all I'm thinking about now. Like, has he supplanted Shea Alexander as the best player in his family? But for real,
I don't know if he has, but I think the conversation at least needs to be had. I think I'm fine with the conversation at least.
Yeah. I mean, obviously SGA's got it, but I mean, it might get a second MVP.
I think the conversation's got to be there.
Nickeil is hooping. I got these 4 here though, over the premise that, like, hey, if these teams are up, they were happen to get up 2-0 in the first round, whoever they play, who would you be most scared of? And I think the Hornets up 2-0, the energy they play with, how explosive their offense can be. I think they're a scary team up 2-0. Hawks, like I just said, I kind of have to see it with them because they are so young. That being said, they do play defense. They can play defense. They love to get out and run. They're an exciting team. I'd have to see it though. Philly and the Clippers, as banged up as they can be historically, they're not going to be afraid of anybody. Like if
Up
Philly gets the
2-0, I'm
Knicks,
scared. Up
yeah, like
2-0,
Philly's
it's
not going to be
probably
scared of
Philly,
anybody,
Clippers, Hornets, Hawks. I think in the exact order you probably
right?
have it, but
You said Philly first.
Philly first, yeah. They have
I
more
probably,
talent. I think they just have more talent than the Clippers.
for me, I'd have the Clippers first because man, who wants to see Kawhi in a 7-game series, and who wants to see Kawhi down 2-0? Like if you're down 2-0 to the Clippers, the way Kawhi's been balling, and not to mention, like Kawhi's one of these guys who, like, once it's playoff time, he can take it up even one more level. And I
Yeah.
felt like he was playing at that level all year. Like since he's come back healthy, I feel like he's been playoff Kawhi. So if you're telling me he's got another level after that, man, yeah, they could probably put the fear of God in the Thunder, in the Spurs, in the Nug, like wherever they land up, they could put the fear of God in those teams. And Philly, same reason. They got a ton of talent, like you said, top to bottom. They got a ton of talent. So why not? Um,
Mhm.
I I can't wait because I do think none of those 4 teams are going to be pushovers in the first round. Obviously, it'll be matchup dependent, but I cannot
I
wait.
hope the I hope the
Only 10 days
Hornets.
away.
I hope, yeah, I was gonna say, I hope the Hornets and the Sixers are the 2 teams that make it. I wouldn't honestly mind if
Yes,
the Magic and the Heat fall out. Like, it does not
I
bother me.
I wouldn't mind if the Heat made it, but
Yeah,
I
no, it'd
agree
be
with you.
fine. Like, don't get me wrong. Like, I think it's fine if either team makes it because I think they both have the talent to like win. But like, if you said, "Hey, out of these 4 teams, choose the ones you want to watch the most," it'd be the Sixers and the Hornets. So,
Absolutely, absolutely. I mean, the Hornets, aside from the Spurs, Hornets have probably been the hottest team since
mhm.
January. And the Sixers, they're sitting at the 7. They could get up to the 5 or the 6. Like they just deserve to be there. That's a team where you're like, okay, yeah, they lose the play-in, but did they really deserve to be out of the playoffs? Probably not. Like,
Yeah,
get Philly in there. Get Philly in there, especially Maxey, somewhat healthy Embiid, and healthy Perk P. Yeah, sign me up.
yeah.
Sign me up.
Kyle,
Uh,
can I just say one quick thing? Because you had asked, and I had been doing little research as we've been going through. I believe the last time we had 2 white rookies, like, leading for Rookie of the Year would have been 65, 64,
mm,
65, or 65, 66. None other than Finals MVP Rick Barry and none other than the Kangaroo Kid, Billy Cunningham,
okay. All right. Yeah,
who
60s.
has who has an MVP in the ABA, which I had no idea of.
And he was like a senator as oh no, that's Bill Bradley. That's Bill Bradley. Yeah, Billy
Oh,
Cunningham was
God.
he was that dude. I think he went to UNC.
I did not know that he was an ABA MVP. That is a fun fact, but he was
Huh.
for
So wait, he
Philly.
he was in the
twen-
NBA, went to the ABA.
yeah,
Interesting.
he was in the NBA, went to the ABA for 2 years, and then went back to the NBA.
They
And
were
he had a
selling the
season where he put
bag.
up
On
26,
the bag.
14, and 4. He was a top 5 MVP candidate. Golly. Shout out Billy Cunningham. Like, I knew he was a good player. I just didn't know 26, 14, and 4. All right.
Billy
So
C.
I think 65, 66 is the last time we've had 2 Caucasian males as your numbers 1 and 2 for Rookie of the Year. So Cooper
I think we
Flagg
should
is
get I think we should get Rick Barry and Bill and Cunningham to hand out the award to either
yeah,
one of Cooper Flagg or Con Knipple.
we should.
Um, extremely, by the way, Rick, Billy, Con, and Cooper, very Caucasian names, like very
Oh boy.
stereotypical Caucasian names, right? Kind of like LeBron and Carmelo, Con and
I mean,
Cooper. Like, come on.
yeah. So I mean, you have
Is Con? I wonder if Con. Let me do a quick. I mean, we want to get to our tiers here, but I want to see if Con's like full name is Connie. No, it's just Con Knipple the second.
uh,
Not even
just
Junior, the
Con
second.
just
Con.
Con Knipple. I mean, the Beatles had released an album that
Hey,
year. Martin Luther King was stoned during a Chicago march. Like, this is the
This
last
took a dark
time.
turn. This took a
No, I'm
terrible
just reading some of the things that happened during
MLK got
the.
stoned?
Yeah,
It's awful.
Samala Hayek, she was born this year. Rolling
It's
Stone
one of my
perform on the
X5.
Ed Sullivan Show. So, yeah, but anyways, we can
Alright.
move on so we can get through
Back to
these
the
tiers.
NBA back to the NBA tiers. We can do
Let's
the
get through these tiers.
we can do the 1966 look back, maybe immediately
Oh.
after this episode. This tier, Keenan, is just the shrug emoji. Do you wanna take a guess?
Oh boy, oh boy, oh boy. The Lakers?
It's the Los Angeles Lakers.
Bummer.
If you remember, Keenan, my very first tiers that I did, it might even be it was either my first or my second tiers. I had the Lakers and Philly in here because I was like, I don't know.
Mhm.
I don't know. You could tell me any outcome with these two teams. And as I told you, Keenan, off camera, I meant to do tiers about a week or two ago, and I was like, nah, like I'll wait until about this point because I don't think much is going to happen. And of course, Luka and Austin Reeves got injured. So they obviously would have been ahead because they were playing really well, and I really liked what I saw out of the Los Angeles Lakers. But now it's a shrug because we've got Luka Doncic going to Spain to get a second opinion on his hamstring, which makes me think he'll be back. Will he be 100%? Me personally, I would say fuck no because it's a hamstring. But hey, he's likely gonna try to play. Austin Reeves oblique injury. That's been about a month injury. We've seen that with both Paolo and Franz last year. They both missed about a month, and they both came back at full strength. So it's not like the hamstring where you could re-aggravate, but that would likely take, or I would say it would for sure take Austin Reeves out of the first round. So that leaves LeBron probably playing, let's say, 3 games in the first round by himself at least. Don't like the prospects. But if for some reason Luka got his friggin' hamstring like steroided up and all of a sudden he can move around like he was 2 or 3 weeks ago, who wants like no one wants to see Luka and in any playoff round if he's hooping like he was. Because man, he was kind of quietly one of my favorite players to watch before he went down with injury. But I think we can say for sure they're probably not going to have Reeves for the first round, and that just makes their prospects tough.
Yep.
But you kind of can't count them out if Luka is playing at all.
Here's the thing: if Luka comes back, say he comes back halfway through the series, game 3 or game 4, they can't. LeBron needs to get them 1. They play Houston. Can LeBron and the Lakers get you 1? Because if they come back, if it's 2-1, the Lakers are down, or somehow 2-1 they're up, Luka's back for game 4, then they can work with that. They're obviously not working 3 down 3-0. So like LeBron's gonna have to turn back the clock and get you 1. And these next couple games do matter because they're playing Houston. Like the way the way it lines up, they most likely are going to play Houston because Denver I don't think is going to fall. So it really comes down to who's going to get home court, which also matters too. To the beginning of the game. So because right now the Lakers have home court, but if the Rockets play better than the Lakers, and the Rockets will have home court, which will matter. Not that Luka and LeBron, if they're healthy, can't go into a different opponent's building in a game 7 and get a W. We've seen it from both of them plenty of times in their careers. Just, yeah, it'll be a little difficult. It'll be difficult. I'm still picking the Rockets in the series. I'm not trusting the Lakers, like health wise, obviously. But yeah, no shrug emoji because the fact that they fell down to the 4 means their season ends in the second round regardless. Luka can come back and Austin Reeves can come back. They're not beating the Thunder to me. I just no, I'm not going to do it. Not Austin Reeves off an injury and Luka off a hammy. I would not pick that. Seen crazier things always, but no, I won't be the one picking that.
Tim brought this up. That just reminded me of something that Tim brought up, and I'd love to see it in the NBA, and he's 100% right. Why doesn't the NBA reseed for their top seeds? Why do they do it like strictly bracket style? I mean, which it's still a bracket style, but why don't they reseed like the MLB, like the NFL? I don't know if the NHL does or does not, but I mean, that seems to make the most sense. Like, oh, we could play A or B, but NBA.
Yeah.
Adam Silver, and I guess apparently David Stern too. Uh, Next tier, Keenan. Too competitive to be phony, not good enough to be legit. I'll let you guess.
Houston.
Do you think there's any other teams?
I would say if we added one more, I would say maybe the Knicks or Timberwolves. But
It's just Houston. It is just
but
Houston.
I would say Houston would be my one. I'd have the Knicks and Timberwolves personally in the next tier up from this in my. Well, I don't know what the name would be, but that's just me.
We will see. We will see very soon who is in the next tier. Yeah, man, I don't know where to put Houston. I told you before the year, like Houston was my most intriguing team because I thought fully healthy that they could do some damage. And obviously they lose Steven Adams a couple months ago. They lose Fred VanVleet before the season. And then they do nothing at the trade deadline. Like I can't believe they didn't go out and get any sort of point guard because man, there's a lot of point guards available. Why couldn't they get in on the Itsumu sweepstakes? Why couldn't they got in on what's my man's name? I mean, they could have went and got Bones Highland or someone like that. And they just didn't. They didn't do anything. They're content with just letting Reed Shepherd, you know, be at the mantle and kind of KD really be their point guard, essentially, just being the playmaker with the ball. And man, it feels like if they had what if they got CJ McCollum? Why couldn't that have worked out? You'd feel much more confident with CJ McCollum there than, Reed Shepherd in a playoff series. Like that's, I think, going to come back to bite them when they do have enough talent and they certainly have enough length and size to just give people problems. Here's the thing, and we'll talk about this at length next week. The playoffs are different, and I don't love Houston's offense, but we saw Houston really put fear in Golden State. We saw them, they held Golden State to 0 field goals last year at one point in that fourth quarter of game 6, I think it was, where Golden State, they either scored only 1 field goal or they scored all foul shots. I can't remember what it was. It was a wild stat. No Steven Adams, but they've got the ability to do that. Ime is not a great offensive coach. He's a great defensive coach. He's really like this era's Tom Thibodeau, to be honest with you. The team's going to be tough. They're just also going to be pretty easy to guard in the half court when you figure they don't have a point guard at all. They don't have much shooting. If Sengun can take it up another level along with Durant's offense, maybe you have something there. But again, that's why this tier is called what it is. Too competitive to be phony, not enough talent to be legit. I feel like they're a player and a half short.
Yeah. Okay. I'm fine
No
with that
additional
too.
comment?
No, I think that the Rockets are at best a second round team. So I would agree. I think they can easily get to the second round, I think, especially with the matchup they have, but they're not beating the Thunder. I don't think they're beating the Spurs. They're not beating the Nuggets. So I don't see them in the second round getting by any of those 3 teams.
Would be cool to see Durant have this March Madness Cinderella type run where he averages 30 or 32 and carries the team on his back because they got the defense to do it. They've lost a bit of rebounding with Steven Adams, but we'll see. Next tier, Keenan, technically contenders. 2 teams in technically contenders.
I'm going to put the Knicks and the Timberwolves there because that was what I said was going to be the next tier. That's my guess.
The Knicks are correct. Detroit Pistons I have in this tier. Knicks I've gone back and forth on all season. I just can't imagine. This East is so deep. I can't imagine the Knicks getting all the way. I like Mike Brown. I don't know if I like him better than Tom Thibodeau. And I don't know if I like this roster much more than last year. I think they're deeper. And I loved it in the offseason, honestly. But it seems like they're the same team. The same team.
The same team thought it was going to. So I thought that the Knicks had a chance to get to the finals because you're like, okay, the Celtics are going to be worse. And Tatum's not coming back next year. And the Pacers are, I was going to say, the Pacers have no Halliburton. And then you're like, the Pistons, they beat the Pistons last year. How much of the step are they going to take? And then it's like, oh, wait. Celtics actually have Tatum, who looks phenomenal for what at this point he should look. So why is he 22, 10, and 6? And then the Pistons are better than expected. And then the Cavs, they have Harden. Well, I understand Harden's like not a game 6 or game 7 guy, but you know what? He can
They could
pass the
beat the
ball.
Knicks.
When Donovan Mitchell's a problem. Evan Mobley, if he's playing like he played today, Evan Mobley's a true problem too. So it's like, and he's like, oh, the Sixers actually look better than are actually like healthy at the right time. That never happens. The Hornets look a
Sixers
little
could,
better. You know what
yo,
I'm saying?
if
Like,
Embiid can give you like, you only need 4 good games. You could feasibly, and we've seen teams do this where they kind of let it go to a game 7, you know? I don't recommend that for any team, but we've seen teams being like, all right, we'll let it get to 7. I'm not saying Philly could be that team, but if you only need
and
4 good games from Joel Embiid, Karl Anthony Towns lives in foul trouble in these games, in these playoff games. Like he's perennially got 4 fouls in the third quarter, and then you're praying after that. If Embiid could absolutely get Mitchell Robinson and Karl Anthony Towns out of here in a game, and then what after that, right? They can
the
defend a
Knicks
little bit.
right
They
now,
got Nick Nurse. Who's got the coaching advantage in that series?
I would say the Sixers by a hair, but I think, or it would be a
Who's
wash even. But
who's supporting cast you taking that series? Sixers, Knicks. Gun to your head.
Sixers,
It's at least even, right? Wouldn't you say?
I think the Sixers. I think Maxey cancels out Brunson. I think both of them are just amazing. Then you go there. I'm taking Embiid over Towns. If you want to say it's even because you don't trust that Embiid's going to be there for all 7, sure, fine. Then you got OG or Paul George. If this Paul George, I'm going to take Paul George, but I'll give the nod to OG just because he's a little bit better of a defender at this point. VJ
OJ's
Edgecombe,
pretty
Josh Hart.
reliable.
Yeah, he's reliable. Josh Hart, VJ Edgecombe, you lean Josh Hart because of the experience and the Swiss Army knife, and obviously it's VJ Edgecomb's first. But then you got guys like Kelly Oubre. You got like Sixers are a problem, and the Knicks are, last thing I'll say on this before we go to the next tier, the Knicks are praying to the gods of basketball. Can the Raptors please stay in the 6th seed? And can they stay at the 6th seed? Because they feel comfortable against the Raptors. They don't even, I'm not sure how they left. They like Orlando, Charlotte, Philly, even Miami. Even Miami would be like, gosh, dog it. This team, they like 83-point bam. Like, so the Raptor, I mean, not that the Raptors are even bad, because the Raptors could give them a series too. Brandon Ingram, Scotty Barnes, they have players, but like out of all those teams, they'd be like, you know what, we'll take our chances with Toronto comparatively to the Sixers or Hornets or something like that. So, but yeah,
I'll say this, man. I can see it. I can just envision it. I can envision the Knicks losing in the second round, and then we get 4 months straight of Giannis talks and Giannis trade rumors. And let me tell you this, I'm on record on this podcast, on Is the Right Hype Real podcast. Shouts to those guys. Shouts to Is the Hype Real podcast. I've been on record saying if there was to be a Giannis trade, I'm giving up Brunson. I think Giannis with Towns and OG and Josh Hart is a much scarier core than Giannis and Jalen Brunson and OG and Hart. Let's say that's the 4. Let's say you get to keep OG and Hart and you got to give up Bridges. I think Giannis with Towns is much scarier than, Jalen Brunson, someone who's got to have the ball in his hands, along with Giannis, who's got to have the ball in his hands. Towns can play off the ball. Towns can play with a star. And hey, that front court, you got 2 6'11" guys, one who can shoot, one who can drive. I think that's much scarier, along with OG and Josh Hart. That's a scary defensive 5, truly. And whoever their point guard is, maybe now that's Alvarado stepping into the PG. That'll never happen. You're going to hear again, assuming the Knicks go out in the second round like I think they might, you're going to hear all summer about Giannis and Brunson. Trust me, I do not think that's nearly as good of a fit as Giannis and Towns. People hate Towns. I get it. People I get it. I get it. But Brunson and Giannis, I don't think that's getting you much
depends on
further.
what you get. Depends on what you get at that point guard position to fill in. But that's a conversation we can have more in the off season. But yeah,
Grand Theft Alvarado. Next tier. Any more on the Pistons? Because we didn't really talk about the Pistons.
I think the Pistons could be higher. I need to see. I think that the Pistons, I give them a chance to get to the conference finals. I don't think the Pistons, the Cavs, and the Timberwolves, to me, are all three on the. I could see them in the conference finals, and it would not shock me to see them in the conference finals for all three of those teams. So that would be
Here's
where I'd have them.
here's the thing, and I don't want to spoil anything. The difference between the Pistons and the teams I have ahead of them, I would be shocked if the Pistons were actually holding up the Larry O'Brien trophy at the end of the season. These teams ahead of
Fair.
them, I wouldn't be necessarily shocked.
See, for me,
That
I'd
being
be
said,
shocked if Cleveland or Minnesota did, just because of the health of how Ant's been. That has to factor in, and then Cleveland. I will stick on this. I can't see Harden being a part of a
well,
champion.
let's get to it. Let's get to it. We'll talk about it right here. Could be a sleeper, could be a pretender, and that's the Cleveland Cavaliers. Cavs absolutely have the talent to get there.
100%. I would never argue that. 100%.
I like Cleveland's roster much better than I like the Knicks, and I would just, if you're telling me one of these two teams between the Cavs and the Pistons, who's holding up the Larry O'Brien, like Donovan Mitchell's an all-time playoff performer. James Harden, though he does not show up in game 6s or 7s, he's played in real games. They've got a real front court, they've got a real bench, and they've got a real coach. Therefore, and they've played in real playoff games, a lot of these guys.
I could picture the Cavs in the finals before the Pistons. I agree with that. But I think they're at the same level where I don't think either of them. But like,
do I think it's a stretch the Cavs win the championship? Yes, I do, and that's why they're in this tier. Do I think it would be shocking? I wouldn't be terribly shocked, I would say, especially compared to the Pistons or the Knicks. The Knicks just, they ain't got it to me. Though it's going to be tough to play in MSG in April and May. But the Cavs, if the Cavs can just put it together, and that's one thing I'll give James Harden, he can just kind of slide in and stabilize things. It could look great. I mean, we could get to April 30th and the Cavs winning 5 against whoever they play, and we're like, shit, look out for the Cavaliers. Again, shouts to the Is the Hype Real guys, because, I mean, this is their team right here. They're Cleveland guys. But they're an intriguing team. They've just got an insane amount of talent. That team is more balanced now, of course, with this James Harden trade. But they've looked great, but they haven't looked amazing either. So we'll see if they have a switch. We'll see if they have another level to go to. Do you have any more comments on the Cleveland Cavaliers?
No, I think I got everything I needed to say. They are a team that's good. I think they could be very good, but I don't see them as a champion.
It's exactly why they're in this tier. Could be a sleeper, could be a pretender. The sleeper next year, the Minnesota Timberwolves.
I agree with that. It depends on the health of Ant, but other than that, I love this team. I love the addition of AO. I love.
Come on. Whoa. I'm confused here. You say you love them. But you also just said you would be surprised to see them holding the almost called it the Lombardi, the Larry O'Brien.
I love the construction of this team, and I think this team is going to give every single team problems. But the health of Ant concerns me. That's where my hang up on them is. Like, I don't like, if you're going to tell me that Anthony Edwards is completely healthy, there's nothing wrong with him, he's 100% fine, I would be a little shocked if they got out of the West, just because I think that the Thunder, Spurs, and Nuggets are all better than them. But they have beaten the Nuggets in a series. They're more experienced than the Spurs, and they have seen the Thunder in the playoffs at pretty much the present form of the Thunder. So they're more equipped to handle that rather than a team that hasn't seen it. So they could get there. I'd be shocked if they got there. I just think they're the 4th best team in the Western Conference. And so to me, the 4th best team in the Western Conference. But I do love the way this team's constructed. They're going to give every single team they play a series.
Yeah, I think that's where me and you differ. I would not be shocked at all to see this team in the finals. I mean, they've knocked on the door the last 2 years.
Yeah, in the conference finals.
As you said, yeah, they've knocked on the door. I mean, they've like you said, they beat the Nuggets. They would give the Thunder fits. They would give the Spurs fit. I would love them against the Spurs because of that reason, because of all their postseason experience compared to the San Antonio Spurs and their lack of experience. Timberwolves team ain't going to be afraid of anybody. And you got a top 5 or 6 player, top 7 player, and Ant who's not afraid of anybody either. And their one weakness was point guard. Now you've kind of shored that up. I mean, hey, all it takes in these series is one game for you to slip away. And the T-Wolves, I mean, they'll jump right on that. I mean, I think they're going to miss Nickeil Alexander-Walker, but that just kind of opens up more minutes for DiVincenzo to do the same thing. DiVincenzo ain't afraid of anybody. He's used to these games. So T-Wolves can be anybody, man. I would not be shocked if, I mean, yeah, it would take a lot for them to get through, the trio of the Thunder, the Spurs, and the Nuggets. They're probably only going to have to face 2 of the 3 of them.
Yep.
But if there's one team that's like, all right, yeah, maybe they're not in the top 4, or maybe they're 4th out of those top 4. But would I be shocked? No, they're not. They're just not afraid. They're well coached. They've got the star who can do it. He can go bar for bar with all these guys. They're the sleeper. They are the definition of a sleeper.
Mm-hmm.
The real contenders, and of course, reigning defending top tier will be the Oklahoma City Thunder. These next 3 here, the Boston Celtics, the Denver Nuggets, and the San Antonio Spurs.
Not much conversation to be had.
Yeah, I mean, hey, I bumped the Celtics up. I had the Celtics last time we did this about probably 6 weeks ago. Celtics were in the technically contenders tier. I think Tatum came back about 2 weeks after that. And I was like, hey, if you can tell me Tatum's going to be like 90% to 100% coming off an Achilles injury, sure, I'll bump him up, but I don't see it. And I can't believe how well he's looked this quick. It's kind of scary. It's kind of unreal. They're unbelievably well coached. They're tough as nails. I kind of love this team. And you want to talk about a team that's not going to be scared of anybody in the East, someone who's already won the championship, so they ain't going to be fazed by any of this. I mean, I've said it time and time again, man. Tatum and Brown, they're damn near senior citizens when it comes to the NBA playoffs. They've had nothing but deep playoff runs in their entire career. I mean, they were true NBA veterans by the time they were 23. They played in so many playoff games. And that's not even an exaggeration. Go look at their playoff games. I bet they got to be over 100 by now. And here they are in the prime of their career. And again, I can't believe how well Tatum's looked. They can shoot. They can defend. Derek White is playing amazing. Pritchard's playing well. You kind of wish they still had Anthony Simons. They got Vucevic for size. I can't wait to see what this team looks like. I will not be shocked or surprised at all if and when they're in the conference finals this season. Yeah, retort, and then you can talk about the Nuggets and Spurs, because, I mean, we kind of just saw the preview this past Saturday.
Jason Tatum has averaged over the last 6 games. Their Celtics are 6-0. He's playing 35 minutes a game, shooting 46% from the floor, 38% from 3, 79 from the line, putting up a smooth, cool 25, 11, and 7 would be all NBA first team if he did this for the entirety of the season. And he's doing this removed from an Achilles injury not even a year ago. So
makes no sense.
Yeah, no, that's a problem. He's a problem. And if he's a problem, that means the Celtics are a problem, because the Celtics were already a second round team without Tatum. With Tatum, with a hampered Tatum, like if he was 19, 8, and 5, conference final, could sneak into a finals. With that Tatum, they're easily the favorites. I'd be not shocked, but I'd be kind of surprised if they don't get to the finals. And they easily could compete with anybody in the finals. Doesn't matter who it is. Could be the Thunder. They can compete with whomever. Then the Spurs, we've seen how they've played against the Thunder already healthy. And if they can stay 100% healthy, we expect Wemby to be amazing. And it's the Thunder versus one of those 2 teams in the conference finals. And it's basically the Thunder have earned the right to be the favorites. Of course, they were both champions and they've won the most games this year. So it's like, we're the boss waiting for whoever can try to come slay the dragon. And it's going to be between the Nuggets and the Spurs. And both of those teams can beat the Thunder. Thunder are favored in both series, but hey. In the 7-game series, as I said last pod, we need 2 weeks of Jokic versus Wemby. Spurs fans would be a little nervous. Nuggets fans would be a little nervous. Basketball fans would be thrilled. So there's no argument from me there. The Thunder deserve to be on their own because they have proven to be. We are here until someone knocks us off, and those are the 3 teams. Outside of those 4 teams, be surprised if anybody else won the championship this year. Not saying no one else can, because there are teams that are out there that are still very good, but I would be surprised if it's not one of those 4. So,
Yeah,
yeah, no, there's no argument
if
for me
not
on any of
them,
them.
if not them, then it's the Wolves. Like I'm absolutely not counting the Wolves out of a conference
The
final spot. Uh,
Timberwolves would be the only other team that I could see winning it. There's other teams that could possibly get to the final, obviously, because they're either Boston, but like I'm taking Boston over the field. But even still, someone else could get there. But yeah, only other ones I could actually see winning the whole thing. I guess next would probably be Cleveland,
mhm.
just because of the talent that they have, because you need high end talent to match. And then if you could tell me, hey, Embiid staying healthy for a full playoff run, you get a high level Embiid, then I guess the Sixers would be next. I guess for me, I just need, if it's the NBA Finals, I need high end talent. I just
Yeah,
have to
yeah.
have it.
Yeah, I mean, I kinda how I got this tiered is kinda the percentage I'd have these teams winning it all, you know? I mean, the
Yeah.
thing with the Celtics, it's like, all right, if Tatum's playing the way he is, can I actually imagine this team beating the Thunder in 7 games? Yes, I can. Maybe not like super confidently, but like, will the Celtics be afraid to throw haymakers with the Thunder? No, they're not gonna be. They're way too mentally tough. They're not soft. Their coach is a fucking maniac. Uh, they're not gonna be scared of anybody. And the Thunder probably are way more talented than the Celtics, but that's not the point. The point is, can the Celtics get 2? Can you get 2 out of 3 early or 2 out of 4 early? Can you at least get it to 2-2? If you can get it to 2-2 going into a game 5, it's anyone's series. And
I
Boston would
understand
not
they
be.
I understand they didn't win last year, but the Pacers did get to a game 7 in which I think they
Yeah,
could have won, and they might have won if Halliburton doesn't hurt his Achilles. And I understand the Thunder hadn't won yet, but this isn't like a Spurs team that hasn't won anything. The Celtics have had their demon. They've gotten
they're
beaten the
made men.
conference finals. They have made the conference finals and won the conference finals. They have lost in the finals. They have also won in the finals. So like they have been through everything, and it's a lot of the same nucleus who has been through everything. So it's Tatum, it's still Brown. I believe Peyton Pritchard was on that finals team. Obviously, Derek White was on that finals team. So like, there's still a lot of that nucleus that hey, we've not just made, but we won the finals. So yeah,
I'm not gonna go as far as our boy John B to say like he actually believes, and this is psychotic of him. He actually believes the Spurs are a first round exit. We will have to have him on before the playoffs so you guys can have your Skip and Stephen A moment on that. Uh, I will not go that far, but I do think they have some warts. I would not be
yeah,
shocked if they are out in the second round. That's why I'm like holding the
100%,
the Timberwolves to a bit of a higher standard than the Spurs because it's
100%
like
going
I,
to be
I
on the
still got to
second,
see it. I still got to see
100%.
it. I still don't think they can shoot, and Wemby, we'll see. I think him playing 40 minutes a night will be favorable. At the same time, man, it's another 2 to 4 to 6 to 8 weeks of basketball that you got to do it for. And I'm very skeptical the Spurs can just go from no playoffs at all to playing on Memorial Day weekend. I mean, it's a stretch for me. Whereas the
Mhm.
Nuggets, man, with the Nuggets fully healthy, I kind of like them as much, if not more, than the Oklahoma City Thunder. And we'll talk about that more next week and we'll give predictions. But man, fully healthy, there's nothing they can't do. There's no one they can't match up with. And you've got that fucking big ass Serbian in the middle there who, leads the league in assists, leads the league in rebounds, is what, like fourth in scoring, um, can put up 50 on your head on like 11 of 13 shooting. I mean, who actually wants to see Jokic in May? Nobody. So, yeah. By the way, echo your statement completely. We do need 7 games. If there was a way for us to get a best of 14 series between the Nuggets and Spurs, I would take it best of 14 or 15, whichever. Um, Unreal. I cannot wait for these matchups. I kind of love how this is tiered out the way I'm looking at it, but I mean, yeah, it's wild that the Spurs are in the real contenders tier, but they won't let up. They won't let
Yep.
up. They continue to win these games. They continue to win these games against contenders. Um, One thing we haven't mentioned a ton of when we talk about the Spurs, rookie head coach.
Mm-hmm.
We've talked about their youth, but rookie head coach as well.
Yep. They have a lot. They have youth, but also there is still the lingering ghost of Popovich over the organization, so that does help. Not that I mean, like the same way Pat Riley helps for the Heat, where it's kind of like he's lingering, he's kind of there, but it's obviously not the same as being on the sideline and being right there. But he's lingering, so. But yeah, no, I'm good with those tiers. I don't have much I disagree with. Maybe a couple spots up or spots down for some teams, but other than that, I think yeah. And when it comes to the cream of the crop, I think there's to me there's like a clearish top 5, and then from there, I think you can kind of argue placement of 6 through 10.
Yeah. Yeah, I cannot wait. I cannot
Mhm.
wait. I cannot wait to see which teams blossom, which teams fold, which teams, grow up, and which teams just straight up cannot handle the pressure. That goes for the
Yep.
coaches as well. Um, Keen, any final comments before we exit this pod?
Ready for the playoffs. That's really it. No, I'm just excited
Absolutely.
and ready for the playoffs.
Absolutely. This was the Warner Brothers podcast. This was the final edition of NBA Tiers. Before we get to the playoffs, we will have a ton of NBA playoff content. Whether that comes, we'll see. We'll iron out the schedule here post show. But you might see us this weekend. You might see us a couple times next week. You will have a ton of playoff content. I think Brandon Petty will be involved, and maybe we can get some of these is the hype real guys over here to talk
Yep.
playoffs too. I can't wait. Can't wait. We're about 10 days away. And we're about 7 days away from the play-in. I think less than 7 days, actually. I think 6 days away from the play-in. So
Yay.
season ends officially on Sunday. One thing I don't understand real quick, Keenan, before we get out of here, we got games all through this week. Not one game on Saturday, just blank. Nothing on Saturday. And then they got every single team playing on Sunday. Um,
Yeah, I don't know.
no idea what Adam Silver thinks about that. Apparently, he wants like a friggin' derby of basketball on Sunday. 97% of the games won't matter, but hey, and maybe more will because there's actually a lot of close standings here between the 8 and the 5 in each conference. But
Yeah,
we shall see. Even the 8 and the
we
4,
will see.
honestly.
We will
We will.
see. I'm excited.
Listen, this was the Warner Brothers podcast. This was Kyle and Keenan. We will be back. We will be back very soon. Thank you for listening. Thank you for watching. We're out of here.